Hi everybody, my name is Eran Katz. I'm a clinical psychologist, I'm a parenting counselor, I'm a parent myself, and I run the website Apparently Parent and the Apparently Parent podcast. And I just wanted to talk with you quickly about how should you and if should you talk about your children about the new coronavirus. So in the recent weeks, the news about the coronavirus are getting closer and closer, and what was in the beginning maybe something that belonged to a faraway place and in different other countries is now getting closer to home, and sometimes disrupts your daily lives, and it's part of the reality we kind of live in right now. So in such situation, you may wonder if you should talk about it with your children, how should you talk about it with your children, and this is what we're going to talk about today. So first of all, I want you to remember that in times like this, there's a lot of uncertainty going around. We don't know everything about the virus. We don't have vaccination yet, we don't have medicine yet, and we don't exactly know everything about how it works. And times of uncertainty are a wonderful flourishing space for worries and anxiety, because our brains, they want one thing, and they want to make us safe and live longer. And this is why our brains are constantly looking for danger to move away from, actually. And uncertainty means maybe something dangerous is around the corner, okay? So this is why our brains are always trying to put things into neat corners and patterns and boxes. And we can't really do it right now with this coronavirus, right? So this is why many of us may feel anxious and worried, and sometimes for a good reason. But we as parents, we want to dissipate the worry as much as possible. So first of all, I think that you should remember that if you have worries, and again, why should you? You should first take care of yourself. Like, I don't think that you should act like a know-it-all or like a Superman who doesn't feel anything or is not scared of anything. And actually, by the way, showing your children that you're not sure of what's going on, you don't know everything, and that you do worry, it's a great model for them to see that you can cope with worries. However, if you find the worries flooding you too much and preventing you from taking care of your children, not in the physical sense, but in the emotional sense, do something to take care of yourself. Talk with a friend or your spouse, take a breather, go outside, take a glass of water, meditate, do whatever you need to calm yourself down before sitting down with your children and answering the questions, for example. Now, let's talk about your role as a filter, okay? In this day and age, news are coming to us from many directions, and if you have a smartphone, then you probably get news via social media or push notifications, etc. And if your children have phones, maybe they get some of them too. And the thing is that some of this information is not only not accurate, sometimes it's false, sometimes it's fakes, and it can really make people panicky and scared. And this is especially true for children, because this confusing information that they don't really know how to filter out and how to differentiate what's right and wrong, etc., can make anxiety flourish, okay? So first of all, you should try and minimize the exposure to news that your children are exposed to. This is a good tip for every day, not only regarding the coronavirus, because the news outlets, they usually tend to dramatize things. This is what they do. This is how they, sell ad time, etc. And although you get information, you also get this kind of over dramatization, sometimes biased information. So you would be better off if you would minimize the news exposure as much as possible. This is especially true for younger children. Teenagers maybe are more exposed because they are more independent, and so this is why you should initiate a conversation about what's going on anyway. So of course, even if you don't have, maybe you don't have a TV at home or you don't watch the news at all, your children will hear about it anyway, from school, from friends, whatever. So if your children are young, like kindergarten age, 5, 4, etc., maybe you shouldn't talk about it anyway, because they probably didn't hear about it. If they do hear about it, if they do mention it, if they do ask about it, ask them, what do they know, what do they think, and tell them the basic, really basic thing that is going on, like there's this disease that is around us, and we are doing what we can to push it away. This is why we have to wash our hands, etc., etc. But for older kids, if they didn't ask about it and didn't talk about it yet, I think you should initiate a conversation and just sit with them and ask them, did you hear about the virus? What do you know about it? Did you talk about it with your friends, with your teachers? Do you have any questions? What do you feel about it? Okay, does it scare you? Does it worry you? Maybe something else. Maybe you're happy if you're missing out on school days if it happened, etc. But whatever you do, try not to overwhelm them with information, okay? Ask them what they want to know and answer what they want to know, okay? Don't volunteer anything else. And if you don't know the answers to the questions, which is quite possible, you can A, tell them that you don't know, it's perfectly fine, and B, try and figure out the answers for yourselves with them if they're old enough. So search around on YouTube and Google. There are many videos targeted for younger children or teenagers that give some information about what's going on. And if you don't find the answers, that's also fine. We don't have all the answers yet. And this is also a great teaching point, especially for the older children, of differentiating between a good source of information and a bad source of information. So teach them to be skeptical and maybe rely on official outlets such as the World Health Organization, the CDC, whatever your own health ministry says, etc. And maybe to rely less on questionable sources, and I will leave you to decide which sources are questionable and which are not. Now, as I mentioned, when you sit down with your children and you talk about what do you want to know, I think you should also ask them what do they feel about it. Okay, so are they scared? Are they worried? Are they angry? Whatever. Now, if they say something like, I'm fine, I'm not worried, etc., okay, that's great. They don't have to be. Okay, maybe they don't want to tell you that they are. That's also okay. So just invite them to tell you whatever they are feeling. So you can say something like, okay, you're not worried right now, but if you find yourself starting to worry or you have some scary thoughts, you feel free to share them with me. That's totally fine. You know, sometimes parents, they tend to avoid this kind of conversation. If the children ask something about it, they don't want to talk about it, okay? They will tell them something like, you know, you have nothing to worry about, everything is okay. But children see through that because everything is not okay, okay? And if we dismiss this kind of conversations, we dismiss this kind of emotions, the children will notice that there's something scary, something that we, the adults, don't want to talk about. And this is where their imagination jumps in, and they may create fantasies and biased information coming from the imagination. And this is where really scary thoughts and anxieties can flourish. Okay, so you would be better off telling them what you can and what you know, and don't try to dismiss anything, okay? Now, if they do share that they worry or are anxious, whatever, validate this emotion, okay? They have every right to feel like that, and it's actually quite logical to feel like that. But still, put things into proportions, okay? Tell them what they can do in order to keep themselves safe, what the state does in order to keep them safe, etc. Now, if you have younger children, okay, a good tip would be to take a piece of paper or some Play-Doh and draw or make a sculpture of the corona, maybe the coronavirus or the corona monster, and you can use goofy colors and you can make the picture funny, like a caricature, okay? Maybe draw the corona sleeping on a banana peel, okay? And by using this kind of humor, it's like you're helping the child take the fear from the brain and putting it a little bit farther away, and this may dissipate some of the fear that they are feeling, okay? This is not a magic bullet, of course, but it can sometimes help reduce the anxiety. And one last thing is you try and preserve their routines as much as possible. Children, by the way, adults as well, but children, they really need anchors during the day. And routines are a great anchor. This is why many children have bedtime routines, okay? And maybe you as an adult, you have some morning routines, bedtime routines, etc. Routines are keeping things organized and they maintain a sense of control. So try as much as possible to maintain their daily routines and teach them things they can do in order to take care of themselves. For example, washing their hands. Okay, everybody's talking about washing your hands for 20 seconds every time right now with soap or using a hand sanitizer. So explain to them why it's important, and it's actually beneficial for the environment and for everyone around us, but it also can give them a sense of control, of something they can do in order to make themselves healthy, taking care of themselves, which again is kind of a buffer against the anxiety. So if you have any questions, comment below, or you can go to my website, apparentlyparent.com, and you can reach out to me over there and ask me whatever you want to ask me, and I will do my best to answer your questions. And I hope this will be over soon. So keep safe and wash your hands. Bye bye.